We're holding in the Hakdama on page Zion, on the top of the second column. And he's talking about the fact that the Tzionim, with their Averis, brought about the Holocaust. So now, up till now, he talked about the etzem fact that people were being mishtadol, they did efforts to be over on the Shavuos. And then he also said that the etzem shal Shavuos isn't any of minus, so a machshav is also punished. Now he's going to talk about the minus that the Tzionim brought about in the world besides the shal Shavuos, the minus in general. So amnam zois ve'oid yoiser. There's more to it than that. Ki akitos ho'ela sheimshichu b'rayin atame hazel hakim lahem medina. These Zionist groups who attracted Jews to the idea of making a state lifnei hazman, before the time, b'li Torah, a secular state, imshichu es b'nei Yisrael leminus v'apikarsis noira. They actually attracted Yidden, and they brought them into, and they led them astray, led them off the derech, and into complete denial of the Torah. An amount of heresy that didn't exist since the creation of the world. Even the nations of the world that do avodah zarah, they still ma'aminin b'Hashem yisborach shehu hasiba rishayna. They still believe that Hashem is the first cause. Aval elo harashaim koifrim beikar. But the Zionists completely deny everything. They're atheists. And he points out in Siman Kuf, we learned the Siman Kuf, he talks about the Declaration of Independence that the Israelis wrote, and they didn't mention Hashem's name at all. They didn't want to mention it. Even the Mizrachists fought with them, and they didn't want to do it. And finally, they were masking to put in the word Sur Yisrael, and everybody could attach it up the way they wanted.
Here, you are allowed to say Tur Shol in Beth House. It's not a whole name of Hashem. It's fully allowed to say in Beth House.
And he says that the Goyim in their Declaration of Independence, like let's say the American Declaration,
mention God.
They do mention God, and on the money America mentions, and only the communists. They're the only other country in the world who refuses to completely mention Hashem in their official declarations. And besides that, the Israeli Declaration of Independence starts out with kfir, because it says that the land of Israel was the birthplace of the Jewish people. And
they became a nation.
And they gave the world the book of books, meaning that the Torah was written in Eretz Israel.
And they also give Herzl the credit for starting the idea of Zionism.
Okay. Anyway, so Aval Ela Rishalayim Koifim Beikru Vatchila Mamshichim Halavavos B'ma Shatayva Hileinaim. When they want to attract Jews to their movement, they don't start out right away saying, yeah, come be a koifer. No, they say, come and let's make a state and be part of the army, defend the Jewish people, stand up for yourself. Have a nation like all the other nations. But afterwards, once Jews are brought into it and they come to the Medina and they get absorbed in the absorption camps, then they're taught to believe atheism. Children were separated from parents and everything. They're taught that everything depends on our own power. And this is like similar to Reb Chaim Brisker's famous member that he said that Tzionim don't shmad Yidden in order to make a Medina, they make a Medina in order to shmad Yidden. So that's what the Rebbe is saying here basically. He's saying they first get the Yidden involved in the Medina, and from there they lead them into shmad. We don't have to go on at length. That everybody knows the complete revolution in Yiddishkeit that these groups did. The terrible revolution. That many states, many countries full of Jews were completely turned over to apikorsis, minas. Could mean here the Sephardi countries that the Tzionim emptied them out and brought them up and absorbed them, or he could mean the European countries before the war. There was a lot of Zionist activity. And v'nifratz koyach haminis bimluai b'har b'batei b'nei Yisrael, that the power of heresy entered a lot of Jewish homes, haksherim, even from Jewish homes, ad ein shir, in a limitless way. Umamish mispar gadol shel milyonim miYisrael naflu al yadam b'reshes haminas rachman litzlan. Many millions of Jews fell into the net of their minas. v'alidei shehitztarfu imam gam kitas she'omrim shemataras v'kavanas yischabrusam aleim hu b'chdei l'sakein, and because people joined them from parties like the Aguda and the Mizrahi joined them, and they said, we're doing this in order to make it better, to make the Tzionim better, to make the religious reforms among them. So, ulahavi b'soich aminim gam derech haTorah, and to incorporate some, to make kind of a Torah flavor into the state. Zeh haya hasarsrus lahamshich mibnei Yisrael aksherim l'sapchom el ha'arayin hatamei hazeh. This was the bridge that brought many people over who were formerly good Jews, who saw, oh look, they saw this, they're also from people in the Medina, so they said it's going to be a good place to go, and they ended up going off the derech there. Harayin Atami Ezer Shal Kamas Medina v'chashvam sheyesh sham gam mesaknim u'poelim b'shvil haTorah. They said, look, there's some people in the government who are working for the Torah. V'shuv achar kach noiplim b'reshes haminus v'gamri. But once they got there, they fell completely into the net of the minim. Because of this bridge of the Aguda that was joined up to the Tzionim. And he's maybe referring specifically to, in 1957, there was a Hungarian revolution, and a lot of Yidden, 56, and a lot of Yidden fled from Hungary, and the Aguda representatives came and said, Beferish, come to the Medina, this is the best place to be a Yid, come here, there's no other place in the world where you can live like a Jew. And a lot of them came, and when they did come, they ended up in these Zionist absorption camps. So such a type of heresy is an aveira even in the machshava stages, early stages. Anybody who starts out with a machshava to join them, even if he's not a min at this point, but he's going to end up being one. Even though he doesn't realize it at the beginning, but since that's going to be the end, so in action, so we say that the thought must have been there, hidden there in the beginning. So to sum it all up, besides what I was talking about till now, the transgressing of the oaths, the Zionists also brought general minas and kfir into Klal Yisrael. It's not a surprise that such a tragedy as the Churban of Europe happened. Hashem's anger came out. Like the Torah warns that if there's a shoyesh poyer rosh v'lana, there'll be a punishment. Even though during the Holocaust many good Yidden were killed, but they were killed for the sin of these people who were the majority of Klal Yisrael, who were either the chaytim, those who actually did it, umachtim, and made others sin, or those who went along with them. The anger was terrible and tremendous. In parentheses now, besides the fact that the Zionists in historical fact, besides the fact that in Shemaim they brought the Averis, they brought the punishment, but they also contributed to the bringing of the Holocaust with criminal acts. Because they thought they thought that this would make it easier for them to achieve their goal of having a government, having a state. They had in mind, they hoped to build themselves up from the destruction. And this is a famous letter, that Rabbi Michal Ber brings, that he quotes from memory, that he saw when he was in Czechoslovakia, between when he was trying to get the Tzionim to send him money to bribe the Nazi officers to stop the deportations to Auschwitz, and the Zionist representative in Switzerland, Nathan Schwab, wrote a letter in which he basically said, we're not sending you any money for that because all the nations are making sacrifices during the war. A lot of people are dying from all nations, and if we don't make sacrifices, we're not going to be able to come to the negotiating table after the war and demand a state. and that's the ikr that we're waiting for. After the war, we're going to demand that they give us a state. Rak bedam tiyelon arts. We're only going to get the state through blood. So that's what we want. So we're not giving any money to stop the deportations. And also in the Hakdama to Al Gula, the Rebbe goes on, he speaks at length about the boycott. The Zionim made a boycott against Hitler in the beginning.
Against Germany, even before that, they made it in Germany. Even before Hitler.
And Stephen Wise. And I could be Stephen Wise was against the boycott, was he?
No, he was the one who
before the boycott.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was the one who led the rally.
But in any case, he was for it. But the point is that he speaks there about that they said we're going to boycott Germany and we declare war on Germany. So Hitler said back, yeah, you declare war on me, I'll declare war on you, and Rebbe brings it in Hakdama to Al Gula.
The London Daily Express had a front page headline: Judea declares war on Germany.
Declares war on Germany, right?
Famous headline.
The Kosavti Ktsas Mizeh Bifnim HaKuntris. I wrote a little bit about this inside the Sefer Vayol Moshe, which he's going to write about in Siman Kuf Yud. But I didn't find it necessary to go on at length about it here. That if we want to write about these issues of what the Tzionim did during the Holocaust, we need a special book for this. Levar Hakol, to explain everything. Bring historical documents to prove it. I'm only coming in this sefer to explain the Torah opinion and not the historical facts about this parsha.